Well, the first of the rains have come, so as you can probably see, started Friday, went into Saturday, and a bit of Sunday here. And as you can see, the moss starts to green up. As I said, within 24 to 48 hours, depending on how heavy the rain is. So I just thought I'd take you over here. So we're basically just crossing over the Ides of April 2018, and the first of the rains have got here. As I said, April can be a strange month, especially towards the end. I'm 4 right and 3 down in darkness, in case you were wondering. Just testing out, because we are in April, and so there's still the sunlight is pretty. If it comes out, will be intense. And as I said, April can be a strange month where, you know, it can be threatening to rain, overcast, dark grey clouds, but never actually rains towards the end of April. But we've had our first rain this coming wet this season, the wet, because we really basically only have 2 seasons, the wet and the dry, basically. Though we do have an extended autumn here where we have incredible light and artists coming here from all around the world. As you can see, the dampness has totally changed the look of the dried out landscape and the bark. And as you can see, it's as you can see the colour there. And I just thought I'd just take you around, and you can see, you know, the grass is still this sort of dead yellow, mustardy colour, but of course now it's damp. It's gone a couple of shades down in the as you can see, we got this funny, strange soil here on certain patches, which is equivalent to the O'Halloran Hill Conservation Park, and also somewhat to the Oval at Tangari. So I'm still on 1080p because I still haven't worked out how to go to 4K yet. I was going to sit in the house and spend a couple of hours over the weekend, but I've been pulled out with relatives and things like that to go and do things, and there's a birthday or 2 coming up, so maybe not until I get into May will I be able to crack the 4K. But of course, Mug's Law says that when I go to the 4K settings, everything else I'll have to readjust. It's like when I was in the other settings, they were 3 left, 2 down for all of them except for Vivid Sunset Glow or something, which was like 1:1 or something on the right hand side, whereas now I'm using Cute Dessert. It's always 1 more right than it is down in darkness sort of thing. So which is a pretty simple rule, you know, it's like n-1, n+1 sort of thing. Very easy to remember. Yeah. Anyway, we'll just head down here and see how we go. You know, the old sun on the stubble sort of thing. The old Thomas Keneally novel title. As you can see, the moss here, straight out of dormancy, it's already green. And as I said, the rain didn't come until late Friday. We're now mid-afternoon on the Sunday, and oh, look at the moss down here, already come up. So it's so quick. So, you know, it's like that, you know, moss is already greening up, actively becoming photosynthetic. You know, but as I said before, most of our rain comes in late June. Everyone thinks it's July, but scientifically it's right at the usually end of June going into July, which gives the impression that it's actually in July. So there you go, an acacia, young acacia there. Eucalypt leaves and stuff, so, you know. As I said, we came out last year and yeah, we weren't too impressed because we didn't see any CPs in this area, even though I'm sure they probably had them in the past. Yeah, lots of digging up and stuff, but I now should have true to life colour. Of course, that'll be the other thing if I go to 4K and alternative settings for 4K. It'll probably screw up all the colour settings as well, and I'll have to readjust and spend months doing that. And just as I'm getting it right, that's when the camera will die. Just Mug's law, isn't it? So, yeah, well, old souls just go to die. I think that one's been sawn off. So yeah, back vistas, I know you like them. Look at the lichen on that, yeah. And the colour check on the so-called hot pink. It's not quite a magenta, it's a label down there. So, one, is it kicking up the fluorescence, and is it true to life colours? I think if I've done my work, even though the sun is in, we'll see how we go. And I just sort of going through here, and as I said, the last couple of years we've been noting some of these trees have been falling over, and they seem to be falling backwards against the force of gravity. So we're wondering whether there's been a lot of people out here with theodolites, you know, like 5 or 6 of them, you know. That's a lot of theodolites. You know, how often do you see a theodolite? Usually one person, maybe 2. The maximum normally is 3, you know. You know, to see that many people with theodolites, 1, they're expensive, and 2, do the people operating them have to have the training, don't they? So, you know, yes, to have 5 congregated in one area makes you wonder why there's so much intense interest in the area. Unless, of course, as I said, we got the suspicions that maybe there's a trickle out of the reservoir there, which is affecting the soil, which is why the trees are falling over, and there's going to be a landslide in the near future if they don't shore it up somehow. How are they going to do that? You know, sometimes, you know, as I say, truth is stranger than fiction. It could be that the going to shore it up could be actually the trigger that causes it to to go bust, sort of thing. And once it goes, you can't stop it, of course. That's, as you learn from all those videos of the past, you know. Trickle becomes, you know, quite a flow very quickly, and of course the water's going to go all the way down there. I think Auntie Sue's going to be alright, but you know, I wouldn't want to be the people living down in that area, because it's going to go flowing straight out there, down there, you know, pushing over houses, and you know, as I said, look, there's another tree there now, I think, isn't it? Again, it's fallen backwards against so it's fallen that way against gravity. Normally a tree would fall down the slope. So, colour check on the silty clay. Good to know it's all silty clay. You know, when silty clay will get, you know, gets to flow, it'll just flow, you know. So is this one still alive, or trying to push out the old leaves? So this must have fallen over last season, and as I said, it's fallen backwards against the force of gravity, which implies there's probably been some shift under with the soil underneath. So yeah, I mean, putting a little bit of native veg out there that's not really establishing itself very quickly isn't going to help, fellas. I know it's a yeah. But as you can see, the soil has changed so quickly in its colour. It's pallor. It's what is the word for hue? I suppose there's another word I'm searching for. But look at that. Oh yeah, look at that. Look how slippery it is. When things go, they'll slide. They certainly will. And there's just so much weight of water up there once it fills up. And as I said, the rains usually come late June into July. That's when the reservoir will get its, you know, has the potential to get to its maximum capacity. And of course, we're on the end of this millennial drought. So we're due to flip from nearly 20 years of extended drought to presumably 20 wetter years. In other words, somewhere in those 20 years we're going to get a downpour that's going to be greater than normal, I would assume. And that's when the reservoir is going to fill up faster and more deeply than they probably have anticipated for, and that will be so much weight and pressure into the landscape that something like this that may have dried out and cracked over an extended length of time, it would have already shifted due to somewhat drying out, and then the pressure comes in behind it and will probably force those fishes to be opened up, and will start all this silty clay to start moving, and it may start off as a trickle, but usually that's the too late sign, the trickle stage. You can't really stop the trickle unless you really get right on it and you've planned ahead. You've got the machinery in the area to start doing all the big jobs that you need to do, and do them fast and do them very quickly. So yeah. Yeah. So anyway, I'm not really a panic merchant. I don't think. What's the other word they use for? Well, it's like being on a plane. They say always look at the exits first when you get on a plane, because when something happens, they're the people that survive. The people have already looked at the exits and where things are in the plane. So if it goes totally darkness, you can feel your way to the exit, having already positioned them in your mind, sort of thing. So down low for Rossi, Gideon, Sean, Camel, a new one, Stephen, the one with 2 first names, I think. It's not Stephen Jacobs, it's Stephen something or other. Oh, I've forgotten. As I say, he's a newcomer, so you never know. Plays his card right, maybe he'll get a clip from the Stirling ranges. I did say to someone else, if he send me a t-shirt, I'll actually do a special wearing his t-shirt in the Stirling ranges. I mean, I hope he's wise enough to take advantage of that, because you know me, I do try and put my heart and soul into things. So if he plays his cards right, he will certainly get a great benefit from it. Yes, I mean, being an ex-sand grabber, I'm an aficionado of the flat, so semi-mountainous areas like the Stirling ranges and the Paronga ups and things like that. I mean, if you don't understand the Stirling range, just go and do a Google Street View of some of the major roads going through the Stirling ranges, and maybe that will, if he's having misgivings about whether he shouldn't send me the t-shirt, whether he's going to get anything, just go on to Google Maps and Street View and do something in the Stirling ranges. Just do the aerial survey of the Stirling ranges and then pick a road in there, one of the major roads that has Street View from it. And when he goes, oh my God, that's absolutely gorgeous, beautiful, and of course, knowing the landscape, I will be going through the area at the best time of the year, not only for the landscapes, but also for the CPs, of course. So, you might want to, if you're in 2 minds, maybe want to change your mind. I do some executive thinking now, because you'll be kicking yourself in the future. If you haven't sent the t-shirt and you think, oh my God, that is really free advertising, and fantastically free advertising, a Sarah Senior t-shirt, a spectacular Sarah Senior t-shirt being promoted from the Stirling ranges. Yeah. Hint, hint. Anyway, so and it probably is a shout out to anyone else of my extended group out there. You might want to be prepared now. That offer extends to anyone else too. Whatever you're interested in. My address is online. Gideon can get it to you. If you got some spare dongles, and you just want to see what will turn up on those dongles, when they come back to you, well, you might want to think about that. I might just put a clip on there that will just blow your bloody, well, as we say in the land of the F words, blow your effing socks off. So, especially if we go through cephalotus country. So, yeah, just a big hint and shout out there for you lot. And I mean, you go down to Aldinga Scrub here, WA is instantaneously 4 times better than Aldinga scrub, and it just gets better from there. You know, wherever you go in WA, you know, go down the road, 3 or 4 of the species may be the same, but of the other, you know, 10 to 14 species, they're totally different, and that just keeps happening wherever you go around the state, you know, and especially in the southeast. So yeah, so you might just want to put that feather in your cap and just, you know, if other people are sort of giving you doubts, you may want to think again, because you may live to regret it in the future. Oh shit, I shouldn't have listened to these people, they don't know him at all. Yeah. So, well, maybe I should put it this way: if I get to 4K by the beginning of this, you know, this CP season, yeah, maybe you want to put the doubters in a separate category. Then, if I get to 4K and you're blown away by 4K compared to 1080p, then you might want to think about it. That's all I'm saying. Oh. Kids lost their bloody football. Come on, kids, that's a bit slack. Maybe it was rolling down there, and you know, parents and grandparents are saying, it was, you know, there's a storm coming, Annie, it's time for tea. I said that to the workers across the road the other day when this storm was blowing up on Friday before we got the rain, and it was getting quite windy and overcast like this. And I yelled out to him across the road, there's a storm. I think he got it. Not sure, but I think they got it. So, yeah. Anyway, so there you go. We got the reservoir, the Happy Reservoir in there that was built in, I think it's 1897 or 1898. 1 year difference between that and the Black Silt article that Dennis Daly dug up, of course. And it's amazing how quickly they built that, and the fact that it was built so long ago. You know, we're not like America. We're a youngly developed, you know, we're a very old continent, we're a very youngly, socially developed continent sort of thing. And so, yeah, breakfasts. So, yeah. Anyway, of course, the main wall is down on the other road, and of course, everyone thinks, you know, that looks pretty sturdy and solid. But if you go, there are slight leaks even on that wall. I think the kangaroos use them as like salt licks in a way. Yeah, if you go there late at night, you can see the kangaroos out there, and there's a couple of spots along there. You can see little tiny seeps, and that's on the main wall. But I think they've got to worry about this area here. I think that's why they had the theodolites out there, especially when they got a new little tiny housing development over there. You know, disturb the soil out there, it could affect it out here. You take some pressure off there, and it can start things happening here. Especially when you've got this very strange, somewhat bare Biscay sort of soil, this weird O'Halloran Hill, come Tangawi Park sort of soil that, you know, goes bone dry and ruts out in the summer, and then goes all weird, and it's totally useless for cricket, totally useless for footy, totally useless basically. You can't use it for much of anything, and but it's fascinating in itself. Just the fact that it has these characteristics, you know. So how those characteristics play into this sort of thing, yeah, you might want to stick that in your back burner and think about, you know, oh, see if we're catching the fluorescence on the sign up there against the grey sky and the sun coming out there, and so on and so forth. And maybe I just want to finish this clip off. I think I've got 2 more minutes on the card. Just walk across here and I think we'll be done. You catch the weird bits of intrusion there. And so there's the weird soil fellas cracking up and everything, and then it becomes silty clay once it absorbs the moisture. And of course, if we do flip out of this 1999 to 2018, almost 20-year extended drought, normally it lasts, we have 10 years of La Nina, And if we flip into an extended 20 years of El Nino or wetter years, we could have a larger than normal dump of rain. It could come in on like a more monsoonal sort of episode, and yes, if they're not dumping water out of the reservoir, it could put unusual pressure in certain areas, and that's not the way pressure works, is it? We should know. Okay. So yeah, well, on weak points, I suppose.